Warning, this video contains spoilers for Star Trek Discovery Season 1 and Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Hey everybody, Kent Walski here, checking in with another one of our hashtag Star Trek Discovery discussions videos. The end of Star Trek Season 2 of Discovery is upon us, and today we are going to be breaking down the two teasers that we got for the finale that's coming out tomorrow, and I'm going to go ahead and share my final theories for what we might get in this finale, and what to expect for the beginning half of Season 3. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, most of you may be wondering why I'm saying that there are two teasers when in fact there was really just the one at the end of the episode. Well, if you're super cool like me, you decided to record the flash forward thing that happened to Jet Reno at the end of the episode and go through it frame by frame. If you're super cool like me, and look to see what she saw from the time crystal, which gives us insight, I think, into some other things happening. So let's first look at the official teaser that we got at the end of the episode. Okay, so the teaser opens up with this beautiful shot of the Enterprise and the USS Discovery surrounded by the Section 31 fleet. I do want to make a quick note here that while we have seen some of these ship styles before, this other larger one we haven't quite seen yet, and I think it looks eerily similar to the Prometheus-style ships seen in the Voyager series. So I'm curious to see if this is going to do a three-part or even a two-part separation like we saw the Prometheus-style do a few hundred years in the future. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with that kind of ship style. In this next sequence, we see Michael and Spock running through the halls. I guess they're running into the Discovery hangar bay, most likely to put Spock inside of that shuttle and burn him inside of that spacesuit, time suit, whatever you want to call it, the Red Angel suit. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be utilizing their skill sets and their equipment to get over to the Enterprise to remove that torpedo that was inside of their hull that's been heavily featured in a lot of the flash forwards from the time crystal and from the previews that we're seeing here. We also get this really cool shot of these weird drones that are flying up out of the Section 31 ships. It looks like just like some AI attack drones, but it was interesting to me that because this swarm of drones looked very similar to the swarm of drones that we saw inside of Star Trek Beyond, which not a lot of people saw, but there were these AI, drones that swarmed around and destroyed the Enterprise and almost destroyed the Yorktown space station. And these reminded me a lot of that. So it's possible we're going to get some influence from the fact that Alex Kurtzman and the Secret Hideout crew had worked on that film. So they might be putting some of that into this particular episode. Here we got this really great shot of, we know Spock is in that shuttle right above Michael as she's getting ready to run out of the hangar bay of the Discovery. I thought this was a really cool shot that's setting up her, flying through space, either to the Enterprise to try to save it from that giant torpedo in the hull, or to get to start up the black hole and get her and the Discovery through it so that they can go ahead and stop the control AI from achieving full sentience. Okay, this is a quick sequence that happened. We kind of just flashed into it, and it took me a little bit to understand what I was seeing. Initially, I thought it was just random crew members inside of the Discovery hallway that were, just dealing with the turbulence of the fight. But I went ahead and brightened up the image a little bit, and it looks most likely to me that we have Leland in this hallway, Georgiou in this hallway, and an unknown person in the front of this hallway. My guess would be Lieutenant Nan, but we'll get into why I think that here in a second. Here we show a good shot of what appears to be Michael and Spock in a shuttle landing on the hull of the Enterprise. I'm basing that off of the fact that there's this giant hole in the back there that was probably made by that big-ass torpedo that we keep seeing, and the fact that the hull color looks not like the Discovery's and looks more like in terms of what the Enterprise is right now, which is like this weird silver metallic color. So I think they're landing on the hull of the Enterprise, most likely to try and either de-arm or remove the torpedo from the hull entirely. This is a really cool shot. Nothing really is going on here, and I don't really know what we're looking at overall, but I like the fact that you're seeing the overall HUD of most likely the time suit. There's also like a little meter in the corner that's showing that the time crystal is almost completely charged. So this is most likely towards the end of this episode where there's probably another really serious ticking clock and they're just waiting for this thing to get fully charged or whatever it is. So, and I'm assuming this is like some kind of giant time crystal, time suit menu that she's using to try to find a date to move the ship in her, but I'm not quite sure. Okay, and this was a really cool shot, and I love seeing this in the trailer play out, where it kind of turns a little bit and shows Michael getting sucked into this flat black hole space, which is, I guess, showing us how she's using the suit for the first time, I'm assuming. But what was interesting was this ship in the top left corner, and I didn't know what this ship style was. and I reached out to the lore master himself, aka Lore Reloaded, and asked him, "Hey, do you know what this ship is?" And this was his reply: transport ship, I guess. But, I agree with what he's saying. It could be a transport ship. My thought that it was like maybe some kind of Gorn ship because the front kind of looked like an alligator head or something, or lizard head. I don't know. That might be a really dumb theory, but I am curious as to what kind of ship this is. Okay, so inside of the Jet Reno Vision that we get, which is kind of our secondary teaser for this next episode, we see the torpedo landing inside of the Enterprise again, but we also see here non-Giorgio and what is clearly Leland inside of the room where the time crystal was being stored. Now, this is interesting because it definitely shows that Leland gets on board the Discovery at some point, whether it was that previous vision we saw in the old episode or this vision. And I'm hoping that he didn't just kill Jet Reno, who was supposed to be in that room with them, but I'm hoping she got out of there somehow, or she changes her future, which we know that people can do apparently when you don't initially touch the time crystal. I don't know, whatever. And we have this kind of fight sequence here, which is why I think that other image I showed you earlier was of these same three characters in that hallway, because most likely they're going to get into some kind of scuffle and then they'll be out of the hallway, or maybe this is the end of the fight and he was trying to get to the crystal and he thought it was in there. Next up is we have this great image of Paul Stamets, most likely inside of sickbay. It looks like he has some shrapnel in his chest and he's all jacked up and everyone's all kind of bloodied and stuff like that. This is most likely either during the battle or directly after the battle. So I think this might actually show off the culmination of the Hugh Stamets situation and possibly show off their love rekindled because he saves his life or something like that. And life is too short to not love the ones you love or something like that. I don't know. And we also have this really cool shot of the Discovery and the Enterprise battling it out. I just thought this was a really fun sequence. It's not really spoiling anything, but I just thought it was a really great visual. Okay, so now wrapping up with what I think is going to happen. I definitely think that we're still going to get more teasers about the Borg being part of Control. I don't think that that theory is entirely dead yet, but I think it's much more dead than we probably thought it was a few weeks ago, but that, it is what it is. But what I think is going to happen at this point, and I'll tell you what I like to happen, what I think is going to happen is Michael's going to activate the wormhole. Everyone's going to go inside of it, including the Discovery and her. Spock is going to be left behind because he was inside of that shuttle. And then you're going to have basically this whole thing where Michael and the Discovery are in the future, most likely at the same year that her mom had gone back to. And we're going to spend the first half of season 3 probably trying to get the crew and Michael back to their original timeline. That's what I think is going to happen. What I would like to have happen is once they go through it, they realize that their plan still didn't work and they need to keep jumping through time, and basically all of season 3 they just keep doing different variations of a plan to try to stop Control. That I think would be kind of cool. Another thing is that is a possibility is that the Discovery actually goes through, Michael goes through with it, she gets her mom, and they leave the Discovery in the future, and then they come right back, and the plan works beautifully, but Leland tries to go after them and then accidentally gets sent into a different time, and he gets sent way into the past and then starts the Borg race and decides to essentially rebuild and redo their process to try to take over the galaxy with a brand new approach, saying that we must adapt and overcome what we have done in the past to try to undo the things that are going to happen in the future and reapproach this from a new angle. I think that would be kind of a fun thing as well. I do believe that they're going to try to play up the future stuff a little bit, but I know that, from a budget perspective, they can't really do too much popping around like a la Quantum Leap. So they're most likely go to the future. I think they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger of them stuck in the future, and then something to do with Ash Tyler possibly either freezing himself or something to do with how he's going to get to the future to help them get back in time. I don't know, something like that. And I think that they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger of them stuck in the future, them saying, we've got to figure out how to get back. And maybe they'll actually see, what happens, that the Federation still gets destroyed and then they have to work together as like a small team, a small crew to get back. And then, they have to figure out a way to reutilize the time crystal. Maybe Gabrielle Burnham's there. And then there'll be basically a 2-parter from this episode and the first episode of season 3. Regardless of it, I do believe that we will be getting a new USS Discovery. I think that whether Discovery is destroyed, left in the future, left in the past, whatever it is, I do believe that we will be getting a brand new Discovery ship, for season 3, a new design, a new outlook. I think it'll probably look very similar on the inside, just for budgets, and they don't want to rebuild the whole set. But I think that we'll be getting a new Discovery ship. Anyways, guys and gals, that wraps up my final theories for the season finale. I'm very excited to see how they start to tie everything up and then build upon this in the next season and kind of leave us at what most likely will be a large cliffhanger. What did you guys and gals think of all the breakdowns from the teasers and my, non-spoiler speculation for what the season finale is going to be? I'm curious to hear what ideas and thoughts that you all might have coming up into it. We only have a couple more hours. It'll be here tomorrow. So I'm very curious to hear what all of you guys and gals think, and I will catch all of you all next time. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!